Buenas tardes desde las oficinas de Vij2Me. Os saluda un servidor, José Peris, director del máster Web3MBA. Tengo conmigo a Nacho Gómez, director de contenidos de Vij2Me. Y tenemos desde India a Vijay que nos acompaña y le daremos paso en breve. Bueno, para nosotros, la verdad que es un honor estar aquí hoy. Muchas gracias a todos por asistir. Para nosotros es realmente un día muy importante, ¿no? Porque Web3MBA es un máster online que hoy realiza su tercera drop, ¿no? Y tenemos la suerte de contar con una personalidad dentro del espacio Web3, como es el propio Vijay Krishnan, que ha tenido el placer de acompañarnos hoy y la dinámica que vamos a seguir, vamos a hacer una ligera presentación sobre lo que es Web3MBA y posteriormente Nacho y yo pasaremos a preguntarle, a hacerle una serie de cuestiones y dejaremos los últimos 15 minutos para que también vosotros por el chat nos aportéis vuestras preguntas y se las podamos lanzar. Bueno, como os decía, Web3MBA es el primer máster online descentralizado y tokenizado. Nosotros al final nos hemos dedicado en hacer algo que creíamos que podía ser bastante innovador, como ofrecer un programa de microlearning que estuviese totalmente gamificado bajo la filosofía de Play to Earn. Básicamente, nos hemos dedicado a buscar en este espacio Web3 a los protagonistas, ¿no? Ir a por ellos, entrevistarles o que vengan a dar clases y con una calidad audiovisual suprema, ¿no? Esta ha sido nuestra idea, contar todo este ecosistema, ¿no? Casi como si fuese un documental. Para nosotros, nuestro compromiso pues, es traer a gente, ¿no? Del nivel como tenemos hoy de Consensys, gente de Ethereum, de Google, de BBVA, de Decentraland, Dolce Gabbana, Sandbox. El día 28 tenemos también con nosotros a Yaiza Rubio, la Chief Metaverse Officer de Telefónica. Y bueno, temas que solemos abordar en el máster, pues bueno, introducción a las criptomonedas, finanzas, trading, tecnologías descentralizadas, tokenización, metaverso, Web3, ciberseguridad, innovación y también especialidades como inteligencia artificial, estrategia y startups y sistemas descentralizados. También comentaros que estamos ya con la campaña de Black Friday y tenemos un descuento del 20%, que podéis aprovecharlo y podéis también clicar a hablar con un experto por si queréis solicitar más información. Bueno, en definitiva, nuestro compromiso es hacer un programa puntero y permitir, sobre todo, no tanto a gente de negocio como gente técnica que pueda adentrarse en este apasionante espacio que es Web3, que acaba de nacer, que es una early stage y que realmente, pues bueno, nuestra misión es capacitar, ¿no? A los primeros alumnos formados en esta materia. Dicho esto, vamos a pasar al drop, al webinar online, que es uno de nuestros formatos que trabajamos. Y bueno, para ello lo primero me gustaría que Nacho nos cuente un poquito sobre Consensys, nos hable de qué es Consensys, ¿no? Danos un poquito de luz.
¿Qué tal, José? Pues nada, gracias por estar aquí a todos y a todas. Y bueno, Consensys, si habéis oído hablar de MetaMask, bueno, si estáis aquí en este máster seguro que ya han oído hablar de MetaMask porque es algo indispensable, ¿no? Pues detrás de MetaMask está Consensys. Consensys es una empresa de software que, bueno, fue fundada por Joseph Lubin y están ahora mismo tienen la sede en Nueva York, pero están descentralizados también por todo el mundo. De hecho, ahora mismo nuestro invitado de hoy, Vijay, está en India y seguro que tienen mucho más.
También importante comentar que Lubin fue cofundador de Ethereum.
Sí, no, casi nada, que estuve con Vitalik. Lo que pasa es que, bueno, al final aquello acabó como acabó, pero bueno, o sea, Cardano por un lado y MetaMask por otro, o sea que al final todo ha sido para bien. Lubin también fue director de operaciones de Suisse, bueno, de hecho lo es actualmente, que es una empresa que trabaja para ampliar las capacidades del tipo de la tecnología blockchain, ampliar las capacidades de la cadena de bloques para almacenar programas, además de otro tipo de datos, facilitar, verificar o hacer cumplir la negociación o el desempeño de los contratos inteligentes. O sea que no estamos hablando de una empresita pequeña, que digamos. Después de estar con Ethereum, fundó Consensys en 2015, que básicamente es un estudio de producción de blockchain descentralizado. Y actualmente, bueno, pues desarrolla software principalmente, como hemos hablado, para el sistema de blockchain de Ethereum, y a través de ahí nació MetaMask. Lo que pasa es que nos han quedado en MetaMask, y de hecho ahora con Vijay lo vamos a ver, porque bueno, han nacido Pledge, Snaps, también han sacado Infura. Es decir, el ecosistema sigue creciendo y, de hecho, nos lo va a contar ahora Vijay, que nos vas a presentar tú, José.
Sí, os voy a hablar de Vijay, voy a tener que leerlo porque realmente es una eminencia en el espacio Web3, hemos coincidido con él en algunos eventos también y es un auténtico referente, ¿no? Para que os hagáis una idea, Vijay Krishnan es el director de tecnología de Consensys. Es el director global de arquitectura y preventa técnica para herramientas de desarrollo en Consensys. Ha trabajado con clientes que pertenecen al selecto club Fortune 100, acompañándoles en su viaje de transición hacia blockchain, desde la idea inicial hasta la construcción del producto. Ha implementado más de 50 proyectos y dirigido más de 300 casos de uso, que esto en un sector tan innovador es casi impensable, ¿no? Encontrar a alguien con esta trayectoria. Antes de unirse a Consensys, estableció el ecosistema blockchain para Amazon Web Services Partner durante aproximadamente 2 años. Y antes de eso fue un miembro técnico clave para desplegar el IBM North America Blockchain Practice. Y lideró la división de arquitectura durante 4 años, donde ejecutó muchos proyectos notables altamente reconocidos en la industria. Además, estuvo con los principales bancos e instituciones financieras de Wall Street durante aproximadamente 20 años, antes de mudarse accidentalmente a blockchain y Web3 en 2016. Es líder, arquitecto y experto en materia Web3, blockchain y cripto, lo que permite a los clientes adaptar la tecnología necesaria para crear aplicaciones en Web3, DeFi, NFT, gaming, metaverso. Aparte es mentor, orador, autor y agricultor orgánico. Casi nada, Nacho. Creo que te dejo a ti la primera pregunta.
Pues vamos a empezar por ahí, por ese cambio a blockchain. Hi, Vijay. Thanks to be here with us.
It's my pleasure. It's my pleasure to be here.
So the first question is, what made you switch towards blockchain technologies in IBM and then in Amazon Web Services? So do you have prior expertise, or did you learn as you went there?
See, I think it was very accidental. I think I shared this in many of the interviews. In 2016, there was an innovation group that was formed in a bank, and I was asked to lead the blockchain initiative there. So I started reading about Bitcoin the first week, and I never got to understand what it is. I think 2016 was something that Ethereum was just like surfacing around, and I jumped into Ethereum. After a couple of weeks, I find it very interesting, and in 6 weeks' time, I was actually mining Ethereum. I was not focusing on what Ethereum was doing. So that mining Ethereum gave me, this technology has something more to do with what a normal software or hardware will perform in a business scenario. And while I was mining the Ethereum, so I want to transact and see how the cryptocurrency operates. So my first transaction was to buy a video about writing smart contracts, because Ethereum was very new, and there was no content in the internet to see how things work. Documentation was like very basics and all that. When I did the buying the transaction without involving a bank, without involving anybody, just sitting in front of my computer, just having a wallet and having some cryptocurrencies in my wallet, I was like just amazed, how easy it was to make a new kind of a payment transaction. And this immediately, became center of what I want to do. And then I quickly made a proof of concept with Microsoft, and then we demoed the proof of concept. It was a trade finance use case, one of the popular use cases in the blockchain space. And the bank appreciated, and we never had an opportunity to move further. So IBM was looking for people like me to come and join their practice, and then build the practice, and then do more projects in blockchain. So that was when I moved into IBM. So with IBM, it was pretty simple. It was all focused on enterprise blockchain initially. My role was to set up the architecture team, and then train the architects around the globe, and then start doing projects. It's more about the consulting practice that we put together. We've done like around 40 to 50 implementations, dealt around 150 use cases in simple. Some of them are like very large projects, 18 months to implement and all that. Mostly enterprises, like I mentioned. And this also gave me an exposure to work with a lot of the top CXOs in the industry and all that. So then pandemic came in, and I was just stuck in what I was doing. I was looking to do more, and that's when AWS was approaching me quite a few times to join their blockchain journey. So I joined AWS during pandemic as a global technical lead for the partnership ecosystem. So I and another person built the partnership ecosystem for blockchain in AWS. Some of the partners that we onboarded are like Nightdate, Luca, Chainalysis, Chainlink. Consensys was one of the partners that time. R3 from the enterprise like Blockdaemon and many more. Again, my primary role there was to advocate the top CXOs. Probably in 14 months, I would have spoken to 150 CXOs there. Primarily being a protocol agnostic company, right? We never favor a protocol. It was a very unique opportunity for me to talk about any protocols that the CXOs want to hear about, more like an unbiased view. And that gave me a lot more depth and breadth of what I already know in the ecosystem. So that is my background on how I got into blockchain. The more and more I read and then experiment and then talk to CXOs about the business problems or the pain points that they face, it gave me a more and more confidence to get into deeper in the ecosystem.
Nacho, Vijay has something special because I've seen him working in real, and many people is really focused about studying or becoming a blockchain developer, but he's got really different skills in business, strategy, and so on to be close of the clients. Do you think, Vijay, that it has been a key for your development in the industry?
So I think you rightly put it, Jose, because the industry needs people who can talk business and tech, right? People think the Web3 and blockchain is all about technology. I would strongly oppose that. I think it's a right mix of business and tech, and I think that's where the core innovation happens. If there are no business pain points and there is just simple tech, you won't be able to appreciate what the tech can do. So it's all about taking those pain points what the business have, applying the right technology. Technology is just one of the ways you can solve the business and pain points. If it's a process oriented pain point, then you implement the right process. I think it's just all about what matters in the ecosystem and how well you can address the pain points.
Vijay, well, right now you are in Consensys. So can you explain a little bit about the aim of Consensys and the different products that you have already?
Okay. So, I mean, it's pretty simple and straightforward. Consensys is already a very popular and well-known firm in the industry because of the co-founder of Ethereum is also the founder of Consensys. So, our vision is to make sure the ecosystem gets the support from a software perspective. Primarily we're focusing more on Ethereum because that's where our core strengths are. But slowly we are also expanding to other networks, non-EVM based networks. From a product perspective, the two popular products that we have are MetaMask and Infura. So we also have an institutional grade of the MetaMask. From a security standpoint, we probably are the top in the industry from security smart contract audits, and also some automated tools that will help developers to make sure the sanity of the smart contracts is good. You can do some kind of security checks before you go into a live or production. And also Truffle, probably my first development tool, to write and test and debug smart contracts and also deploy smart contracts in networks. So that's again our product. So one other product that we have is Codify. We also do Codify staking. So a lot of the ETH staking that happens now is through Codify staking. So this is the portfolio, and we also have a lot of engineers who support the Ethereum protocol by nature. For example, if you look at the merge that happened a couple of months back, so a lot of our protocol engineers have been directly involved in the merge, and they have been working on doing the share forks and testing and giving recommendations on what their finding is all about, and then supporting the entire merge, seamlessly. So it's something that we do very proudly. So basically, we are a software company for Ethereum ecosystem, but also expanding more into in a non-EVM platforms as well.
Okay, Vijay, and we know you talk a lot usually with clients, no? Which are the current needs of the clients in terms of business about implementing blockchain? Which are these business needs?
See, I think from a business side, I think it's like I mentioned, it's all about solving pain points, right? It applies to all industries. So again, blockchain Web3 doesn't have a specific industry use case, right? Every industry has a use case in where blockchain and Web3 can be applied. Whether you solve the pain point through new, business ideas or business process, or through innovation and tech ideas, at the end of the day, it's all about solving pain points, right? So blockchain comes into picture where you need somebody to be the a trust enabler. It's all about sharing data, and also being able to trust the data that you share between the parties, that it is not like manipulated or obfuscated for some reasons. And you need a software to do that in this space. And blockchain is a combination of software and hardware, which is a perfect play for solving some of the business pain points. At the same time, I also like to highlight blockchain cannot solve all the problems in the world, right? It's also only like specific problems, specific areas in an application or a solution. From my experience, I can strongly say that, for example, if you're trying to work on a big transformation for a enterprise, or even for a startup, right? Your solution has say 100% of tech ideas and technical components in the solutioning. Blockchain may be like 5%, 15%, up to 30%. I've not seen an application where it's like 100% blockchain based solution, right? So I think we are going towards that, but we are not there yet.
Yeah. And yeah, now everybody is talking about Web3, even us with Web3MBA, no? But which sectors do you think that will benefit the most from this change from Adrian to Web3?
I think it's every sector. There is no sector specific things for Web3. I've seen from let's start the basics, right? So tech is definitely, tech industry is already benefiting. Financial industry is the one which actually made it very popular. Supply chain industry made it like even more popular by transporting large amount of perishable goods, which can be tracked from where it is originating all the way to the plate. That the complete provenance and all that. So that's supply chain. So retail industry again solved a lot of pain points using blockchain. Again, if you come into the other open world, transferring some kind of a value, right? Digital value, whether either in form of cryptocurrency or in form of digital assets. I think it's already proving. We have done like more than 1 trillion worth of transactions in Ethereum alone. From a net worth perspective. So I think this is all like something that happening in front of our eyes. And I think that, like I mentioned, there is no industry specific area for Web3. It's like all over. Either it's like gaming, metaverse, non-fungible tokens, collectibles, art. Everywhere. I think now it's there. For example, a non-technical person, a lawyer or a legal person, right? How can a lawyer or legal person can take part in the Web3 initiative? So a lot of the legal aspects of a contract now are moving into smart contracts. So you need the lawyers as an expert to come and guide you to say, okay, what can go in the smart contract and what cannot go in the smart contract. It's just not about writing smart contracts anymore, right? You need the right balance between the business needs and the tech needs. And I think the balance is what is going to be the win-win situation for everyone.
Vijay, currently we are in a very interesting point, no, of the technology, no, because we have Web 2, no, which is nowadays facing a lot of issues, no, a lot of issues, no, because now a lot of people is fired right now in the big techs, no, for example. In the other hand, the customers are really tired about what Web 2 does. And but also we have Meta, who is facing a lot of issues, no, because they want to accelerate this process, no, through metaverse, for example. How can we accelerate the transition towards Web 3?
See, I think, Jose, I mean, this is a very simple, straightforward answer, right? Like I mentioned, Web3 or blockchain cannot solve all the problems in the world, right? So it's only can solve certain type of problems. You know, when you talk about ups and downs in the industry, I think it's a fact that that's how the whole ecosystem is designed, right? Even if you take your personal life, there is like ups and downs. I think there is no definitive answer on whether a certain industry or a tech can solve all these problems. I think these ups and downs are sometimes like pretty good because if there is a lot of noise in the industry at certain time, when the ups and downs happen, all the noisemakers get washed out. They're like no more, and only the genuine players stay in the industry, and then we move forward with the industry. We have seen this like in multiple times. And if you even take me, I've been in the financial industry for like close to 20 years. I survived like 2 recessions completely. So it's again every time you come out, you feel fresh and you are ready for the next one, right? That's how it is. I think what we need to take from here is, okay, it's going to keep happening no matter what technology comes in, how much people invest in these technologies and business and all that. It's a cycle. There's like too many factors that gets control over this ecosystem. So we are like small players in the industry, and we are like puppets. So we need to definitely go through what coming. But as I said, be prepared. Embrace the technology. Always be careful in what you're doing. Know what you're doing. Learn the basics. These will be some of the basic advices I can give for anyone who is in this industry going through this turmoil.
Jose, you were talking about jobs, and most of the people that are watching this webinar, sure that they are asking himself about the new jobs, no, with Web3. So, what jobs are the most valuable in this new industry currently, or which ones that doesn't exist right now, maybe in 5 years or in 3 years?
Yeah. So, see, let's understand, where we are right now, right? So right now, in this Web3 market, everything is new, even though, we have come a long way, right? From 2010 or 2009 is when Bitcoin came out. It's already 10 years, but still the technology is, matured to a point, where we can do few things, but not everything that we want to do. So it has taken like a decade for us to really understand, appreciate, and embrace this technology, to move forward. But I think we are moving very quickly, as we speak. See, from a job perspective, even now, if you probably there is only 0.001% of the people who knows barely anything about Web3, right? And I think this is a very, very, very small percentage of the population that we have. And even if you look at the number of people in the industry, in a tech industry, I think every job that we have is very valuable. Whether you're creating a front end for a D app, you're writing a D app, you're setting up nodes behind the scenes, you're doing staking, you're mining. Mining is still part of the ecosystem, right? Or you're like completely designing, being an architect in the front, how everything should function. or you are coming up with quantitative model to do a high speed trading, right? So every skill is very important. Now, let's not forget the business side of things, right? So without the business analyst or without the business expert, none of this tech can really give life to anything that we create. So at this time, every skill set that we have in this industry is really, really very key. What can accelerate or what can remain unique, if you are getting into space, is your ability to work on multiple networks, multiple chains, multiple programming languages, the flexibility and the spread and the stretch that you can give in this industry, right? Because right now interoperability between the chains are like very limited, and once the interoperability gets matured and then we solve the interoperability issues, then the experts will be the one who can work on two chains, writing transactions for both the chains. And I think that's one of the very key technology that's still evolving, and hardly people are there. I can say even like not even one in like 100,000. So it's still a long way to go, and I think whatever you're doing now, whatever you're doing, just learn the basics right. Then you're like good to go with all the changes that we need in the future.
I think huge challenge, Jose.
I think Nacho is a little bit disappointed because he was waiting that you mentioned content writer.
Yeah, journalist or something like this. What about journalists?
It's a pity.
See, of course, I can answer that. Content writing is already a part of, very key part of Web3. Again, some of the projects that I've seen is how to authenticate, the content that is getting published is really valid or authentic. And I think you guys are already part of the, strong ecosystem. For example, any article that is getting published or any article that is, that has a photograph, what is the authenticity of this content, right? So you guys are like already creating a big impact in the market, and I think that is also a very key skill to have. In fact, what you guys write is what everybody reads. So that's a very important skill. I cannot deny that.
I would like also to ask you a key question for me. From your point of view, which are the more exciting use cases in Web3?
I think, sure. So right now, I think every use case that I see, there is something different, right? That's what excites me. A variation of a particular use case is so widely covered, and we have a long way to go. For example, if you take the basic use cases that we have like DeFi, right? In decentralized finance, there is probably 20,000 use cases we can talk about, if we sit through and look at the collectibles market, NFTs, non-fungible tokens. I think, we just started, the NFT run. Already there is like soul-born tokens now. So even in NFTs, I think, what could be more valuable to the ecosystem, what could be more appropriate to the ecosystem is, other than the collectibles, other than the, JPEGs and movies that we get from a loyalty perspective and other things. So we also have to make sure, the NFTs get to the life of the people like you and me every day, right? I think when that happens, and that's when the real adoption and real change in this ecosystem is going to happen. Talk about decentralized exchanges. Right now, I think most of the DEX are like pretty much centralized. It does need to be more decentralized exchanges. The use cases around decentralized exchanges has to come in, and that leads to a lot of newer use cases than what we have. Look at gaming industry. We're still talking about only, play to earn games, right? So there's much more than play to earn games. So the gaming industry is like too far, and advanced in what they are doing. Again, Web3 comes only, a very small portion right now, from ownerships to NFTs to monetization to keeping the gamers engaged, carrying along with the games and all that. So we need to actually get rid of this and then go into much more deeper thoughts about, okay, how can Web3 play an integrated role into the gaming industry itself? Metaverse is like very promising. Again, the Web3 use cases in Metaverse is again very limited, right? For example, if you talk about a couple of use cases in Metaverse, there are companies who are trying to bring in the retail experience into Metaverse. So that is only the Metaverse. But what is the Web3 doing in this Metaverse space? So probably the shopping experience that you do, the payment options are like in Web3, right? And also, for example, if you're buying something and you do not want it, you can list for sale, right? That's another e-commerce experience that I've seen in the Metaverse. The other simple example I can give is, you don't have to go into a showroom to buy a car anymore. You can sit in front of the computer just like you and me now, and then start looking at everything that we need in a car to have a good experience about the car, with simulations and the multiverse experience and all that. But still, again, the Web3 part here is the ownerships, rights, authenticity, and payment modules, and also navigating from one metaverse to another verse, and if you have like certain brownie points and all that. I think this is where we are right now, which is like pretty exciting to me again. But I think there need to be more and more use cases that's closer to our daily lives. For example, I wake up in the morning, I do certain things in my daily life. How can NFTs come into that, right? For example, now we are taking vitals. If you go to a doctor, can your vital report become an NFT? So that you don't have to carry your bundle of reports every time you just go to a doctor visit. So these kind of use cases will actually enable you to appreciate, adapt the technology much more quicker and faster, and the common man will start understanding this technology much better.
Yeah. Most of the time, the entrance door to Web3 and Metaverse is with MetaMask. That's where you work. So could you give us an overview of how MetaMask works in terms of technology stack? What do you do?
Yeah. So MetaMask is just one of the ways to enter the web, right? It's not the only way. And of course, we have a large user presence, thanks to all the users. And from a stack perspective, MetaMask is a browser plugin, as simple as that, right? So when you want to use MetaMask, you just install it in the supporting browsers. So MetaMask also comes up with a suite of APIs. If you want to integrate with the applications that you're writing as a D app or a web page that you want to enable a payment. It also has an SDK for you to strongly integrate MetaMask into your workflows and things like that. So recently we announced MetaMask Snaps for actually building custom integrations and touchless integrations, so that you don't have to depend on us to do all the integrations that you need, and also do cross-chain protocol enablement. When I say cross-chain protocol, right now using MetaMask Snaps, you can actually do a Bitcoin settlement, Solana settlement, much more Stockware. You can plug in Stockware into your MetaMask and start doing transactions and all that. So it's much more than what we think MetaMask is all about. Again, from a tech stack, it's like pretty simple. Most of the MetaMask modules are NPM based, JavaScript based. So again, any browser that is compatible to a JavaScript, most browsers are, so that can be compatible running MetaMask as a client. So we also have a mobile version of MetaMask. There are like some slight feature differences between the browser plugins and the mobile version of it. It's all about how you want to integrate and customize it. It's pretty simple. If you ask me, with one line of code, I can enable a button in a web page. When you click on that button, the MetaMask opens up and then asks for a user ID. Not a user ID, it's as a password. Once you put in the password, you will get access to the wallet. It's just like one line of code. So how it is done, again, you can look at the API documentation, what APIs to call and how it is called. it's all like API driven. It's an API driven model.
And how can we ensure that our digital assets are as safe as possible? It's an important question.
Yes, very important question. This is like probably, even if you ask me 10,000 times, and I'll say yes, it's a very important question, right? First thing is know your basics. When I say know your basics, I think it all leads out to education. Right? People just jump in because this space looks pretty exciting, and it's a very volatile space. From a value proposition perspective. One day you be a millionaire, next day you lose everything. That's how the space has been operating. Very volatile. So once you know your basics, test the waters. Do some small transactions that you can afford to do first. Don't start with $1,000 transactions. I would say start with the $5 transactions if you can afford it to do. So get comfortable with it, right? Can you do $5 transactions comfortably without thinking, right? And see what others are doing in this space. Right? Learn from others. Follow best practices. Read a lot. Keep up to date on the scams around the world on digital assets and cryptos, especially the wallet-based scams that we have. If you're using a lot of transactions recently, then you should be definitely using a hardware wallet. This is one of the best practices that we have. So learn how to manage your private keys and secret recovery phases, from a wallet perspective. Again, very, very common thing that people don't understand. And this is why I always say, know your basics. For example, if you're not comfortable doing all these things, go to a custodian who will, do everything for you and pay a small fee for the custodian. And again, follow more specific best practices. Use like anti-phishing browser plugins because more than 90% of the scams are done via phishing. And finally, don't be greedy. Right? Take it easy. You'll make the money. You'll lose money. That's part of the life. Don't be greedy. Learn everything what you know, what you do before you do, and that's what is going to make you feel comfortable in this space. Otherwise, scams are going to happen. People are going to lose money. Scammers always find another way to scam you.
And you have also launched MetaMask Snaps. How does MetaMask Snaps improve the current features of MetaMask? Okay.
So, maybe I'll just take an example and explain what is MetaMask Snaps here first. Then we'll talk about a couple of examples about MetaMask Snaps. If you look at your iPhone, you look at your Android phone. There are a lot of apps in your phone, right? How many of them are done by the Apple company, right? I think we found some stats. It's like 0.001%. So that's the amount of apps that the Apple company produces to run on the Apple phone. Similarly, Android, right? The core Android operating system that comes up with has only default applications. Similarly, if you take your Mac OS or your Windows operating system, there are only like basic application that comes part of the Mac OS or the Windows operating system. Everything else is done by a third party, right? So we are all actually following the same pattern with the MetaMask. So imagine MetaMask as your iPhone, and MetaMask Snap is the app or the plugin that you install on top of MetaMask. So what does it enable us? All the apps that you see in iPhone, right, are not created by Apple company. That's the model we want to do as well. If you start building applications for MetaMask or plugins for MetaMask using Snaps, probably we'll do like 20 a year. But we want the ecosystem to build the apps and the plugins using Snaps. So it becomes an iPhone model where MetaMask is the iPhone here, and Snaps becomes like an app for iPhone. So we don't want to be creating repeatable things, which others can do. Rather, we focus on, developing core products. So what kind of snaps can you develop? As I already mentioned, there are snaps for doing Bitcoin transactions. There are snaps for doing Solana transactions. There are snaps for doing cross chain transactions. There are snaps for validating ABIs, application binary interfaces. Actually, you can put data into a snap, authorize a particular person. That person can actually take the data from the snap using MetaMask. So it is also acting more like mini middleware, right? Middleware may not be a right term because middleware is considered usually very heavy. This is a pretty lightweight browser plugin. So it becomes a data sharing platform. At the same time, for example, you have your custom NFTs. For example, you have APIs for your custom NFTs, and you want to display, what is the value or net worth of these NFTs based on the user logged into MetaMask wallet. If you see, there'll be browser plugins, on tabs inside the MetaMask wallet. So you can, using snaps, you can develop a third tab, which will actually show the current value of the NFTs that you hold in your wallet. So that can be a snap. So there's like unlimited options. For example, you have an API through which you can actually show transaction insights before submitting a transaction into a chain using MetaMask. You can actually develop a snap, integrate that into MetaMask. So whenever you submit a transaction, you can show transactions inside MetaMask before submitting the transaction. Same thing for checking and to address whether the address is like legitimate. Is it flagged by OFAC list? Is it like really safe to do a transaction with the to address and all that? So it is like taking the user experience to the next level, and then letting the builders and the business people to come up with new ideas and innovation to build on top of MetaMask. So MetaMask becomes the platform, and Snaps becomes the application that you develop on top of MetaMask.
Okay, Vijay, I have our last question.
Yeah.
Then we will go further for the question of the student that we gather from Discord. And I remember I have an anecdote with you. In the USA, I was asking to Vijay, I need a really, really easy way to use blockchain. And he told me check Infura. This is the future.
What is Infura?
And the question is why you told me I had to check Infura.
Okay. So I think blockchain is very difficult to understand, right? Even if you understand to get your hands dirty, you need a lot of tools, you need a lot of experience to build a blockchain network, right? But if you're not looking to build a blockchain network, but you still want to develop applications on top of blockchain, all you need is a connection to a node where you can submit transactions, read data back from blockchain, and give a user experience based on the use case. So Infura abstracts all that for you. It runs a number of nodes behind the scenes, supports multiple chains, and then it provides you a single RPC endpoint. All you need is to copy the endpoint into your smart contract code or into your scripts where you need the connection to the blockchain. And Infura does the rest. Infura also comes up with 40 different Ethereum API endpoints to which you can easily interact, whether you want to submit transaction, get a balance, get log details, things like that. It also supports subscription models. For example, you want to see when you submit a transaction, what happens to a transfer transaction? It takes time for settling right now, right? 3 to 4 seconds right now. So you don't have to wait in the screen for that 3 to 4 seconds. You can actually listen using the eat subscribe model, and then you can come back and then give a user experience. User need not have to stay in the screen; they'll get notified later. So all this is like put for you in a form of an API as a suite, and it's really very well scaling, so you don't have to worry about performance and things like that. So recently, it also has some NFT capabilities. We launched NFT SDK and APIs through which you can build. The latest addition to the ecosystem is Celo, which got launched a few days back. So I think with Celo, we support 12 networks. So if you're a developer, I would say just log on to Infura, subscribe to the free account, get your RPC endpoint and start coding. So you don't have to worry about the infrastructure that you need to set up to run blockchain. So that's the reason why I said, hey, you should check out, Infura, if anybody's, any developer is like looking to get started. So within, probably 15 minutes time, to be realistic, you can actually query a blockchain and see, okay, this is how I get a result from a blockchain.
Okay, we're going to move to the questions of the students. Nacho, go with the first.
Well, this is, we don't know the name, no? But the question is, do you plan to turn MetaMask into a DEX? Will be great. Thanks.
So I think DEX is much more than MetaMask. MetaMask is a wallet. I think after I explain, what Snaps is, I think MetaMask probably will stay as it is for now. Maybe in the future, if there are plans, then we'll bring in some kind of a capability where it can exchange some information, but definitely not as a decentralized exchange.
All right.
Okay, the next question. Is it true what is said about the MetaMask token being released? Will there be an airdrop?
So again, this is one of the favorite questions anywhere we go. Right now, no. But also I will say, with respect to the tokens, we launched an internal DAO, Decentralized Autonomous Organization, MetaMask DAO, which is an employee-only driven DAO at this time. So the aim of the DAO is to fund projects for MetaMask, through employee contributions, and we'll directly get funded by the MetaMask committee. We don't know when we'll be releasing this to others, but keep a close watch on the MetaMask DAO. But definitely no token at this time.
All right. Another one, such as Solana, Polkadot, and Cardano. Could MetaMask create wallets from other networks to improve its usability?
So I think Snaps is the answer. I already answered this question in form of Snaps, right? So if you have to start using other networks or other chains, you need to develop a Snap. Probably when Snaps is ready for a GA, we'll have like default Snaps built in with MetaMask. All you need to do is go into settings and enable the Snap. For example, if you want to use a Solana Snap, then all you do is like go into settings and enable the Snap. Then you'll be able to perform Solana transactions inside MetaMask. That feature is already there, but everything is in beta. And check out the documentation. You can do a Filecoin Snap and a lot more than what is listed in the question right now.
Okay, another question. Can businesses survive in the upcoming years without opting for cloud technologies?
See, cloud is an interesting proposition. I think if you look at some of the data out in the internet, I think we are only like 15 or 17% into cloud at this time, right? Out of all the applications that we have, only like 15 to 17% of the applications are running in cloud. It appears a lot, because of the daily usage that we have in the mobile phones and things like that. But still, we have a long way to go in terms of cloud adoption. If you ask me, cloud is not bad. It simplifies a lot of things for you, right? And you can focus on what you need to do to grow your business, right? Leave everything that you need to run and maintain to the cloud providers. At the same time, from a distribution perspective, I strongly recommend use multi-cloud, for more decentralization. Again, cost saving perspective, I think cloud is the choice for you. It's almost impossible to save costs if you're running hardware. Not in all the cases, but most cases. And also look at the operational efficiencies that we have, with cloud, right? You don't have to patch, you don't have to monitor, everything is done for you. That again comes with a cost, but everything is like done for you. I think at one point of time, cloud will become more like an operating system for you. right? Everything will be on cloud, maybe not a single cloud, right? Multiple clouds. Similarly, what I usually wrap up in my talk. So we'll no more talk about blockchain. Blockchain will become like more an operating system, and I think that's what it is. At the end of the day, I will just talk about only the applications that we build on the top. Nobody will talk about the infrastructure that needs to run going further, maybe in like a couple of years.
Okay, so we are ending this webinar. So we have the last question. You guys are based in New York. Do you think regulation in the US is more suitable for Web3 projects? And what about society's acceptance? Is it's okay or not in the US?
Can you repeat the last one? Sorry.
Yeah, if it's what about the society's acceptance? Is the people is accepting the Web3 in the US or not?
Okay. So I think, as a software company, we are bound to REST regulations, right? We do not handle much of a cryptos. So from a handling perspective, we are like very cautious in what we do. I think regulation is something that we keep a very close watch on. And as you know, we also advise the White House and Treasury on a direct basis, whenever there is inquiries about certain incidents or certain happenings or certain recommendations. As a leader in the industry, we always look forward to, support the government in whatever they do. When regulations happen, we all will know, how the industry moves forward. But at this time, I think as a company, we are in a very safe state because, we mostly develop softwares in the ecosystem, right? We don't interfere in the common economic business model in the crypto industry. So from the second point, I think it really depends is my answer. There's no definitive answer. We are expanding as well, even though we are based in headquartered in New York, we are a global company. After the pandemic and after the remote working choices, I think we are really looking to expand throughout the globe and then make more impact locally as well as globally. Otherwise, it's like a simple software development company, all the time with a lot more attention. Yeah, software development company gets in the space. So we are like, popular. That's it.
Okay, so the time is gone. We just want to say that we are very proud you have been here. I'm very grateful you have been here sharing your knowledge and your experience, your ideas. We wish you the best, Vijay. Thank you for being here, and want to say something to say goodbye.
Yeah, sure. I think it's a pleasure. Anytime you need me, don't hesitate. I'll be always there on the video chat with you. Again, I think you guys are doing the right thing by enabling the beginners to come into this industry and then listen to expert talks like this, which I'm sure will be helpful. So continue doing what you're doing. I wish you all the best and all the audience a good experience in this Web3. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Vijay. Bueno, cerramos ya aquí nuestra conexión. Gracias a toda la audiencia. Simplemente comentaros que tendrán el drop traducido en español.
Y que Black Friday es mañana.
Y que Black Friday está ahí ya y tenéis un 20% de descuento si queréis formar parte de este club. Es Web3MBA y disfrutar de experiencias, ¿no? A gente de primer nivel como Vijay.
Desde luego que es un placer, lo que Web3MBA, yo no lo he encontrado en el mercado. No sé por qué lo hayamos hecho aquí, pero buscándolo y demás, como...
Lo que yo no he encontrado son profesiones como la tuya en este espacio Web3. Bueno, muchas gracias y buenas noches. Ha sido un placer.